We're gonna talk about the truth behind speed ladders, and we're gonna start right now. So in the world of sports performance, in the world of speed and performance, there's this massive love for speed ladders. They're the greatest thing to have ever happened, so much so that I get inundated with parents day in and day out that say, hey, Dane, little Johnny, he's a little bit slow. Can we do some more speed ladder work? As though the parents know more than I know. And maybe they do, but I have had this problem with speed ladders in the past, and I've had this disdain towards them, mainly fueled by speed coaches that I almost have always looked at as charlatans. They're these coaches that never really know how to get anybody stronger, never really know how to get anyone more athletic, never really know how to actually get people faster. They might just get some freak athletes that come in, they stay freak athletes, and then they use speed ladder drills because it's easy to just blow a whistle and tell these athletes to just get on the speed ladder. So how do these coaches use them? You know, typically they'll say, oh, it's gonna help with your speed, it's gonna help with improving your overall performance in a 10, in a 40, even, you know, a 60 if we're talking about baseball. And so they might do side shuffles, they might do the icky shuffle, they might do single leg hops through the speed ladder. And these exercises have a role in training to a point. But when we're talking about building speed or increasing speed, we have to refer back to what is speed. If we think about the 40-yard dash or the 100-meter sprint, the 100-meter sprint has a ton of science behind it, okay? And we know that there's going to be the start position. We know that there's gonna be the drive phase or max acceleration, then there's gonna be a transition period, and then there's gonna be maximal mechanics or max speed, max velocity, okay? So those are the three phases of sprinting, of speed. And one of the downfalls with how people use speed ladders is that they'll tell you it's going to improve, you know, your footwork. So maybe you're going here and you're doing these shuffles, or you're doing, you know, even like a single leg hop here, right? And they'll say, that's gonna make you run faster, but they don't teach you how to have a starting position. They don't teach you how to actually accelerate and drive, how to use your quads and your glutes and your hamstrings, everything together. And they certainly don't teach people how to hold that top end speed if we have a 100-meter sprinter, or even towards the end of a 40. So what we have done here, and what I've done in the past, is I have hated on speed ladders mainly as a childish, immature crybaby who's jealous of these other coaches that have had attention as speed coaches. And now, in the past 3 to 4 years, I've grown up a little bit and I've started to have a little bit more of an open mind and look at how we can actually use speed ladders effectively to develop speed. And I'm gonna share the best methods that you can use the speed ladder for, and then how it can transition into the realm of sports performance. Okay, so that first way to use a speed ladder, I believe, and I stole this directly from Guo, who is a weightlifter from Taiwan, and she is arguably the best female weightlifter on the planet. And so what she does is she actually uses a speed ladder to warm up. So again, she might be doing just drills here to control her impulse, drills like this, okay? Anything regarding impulse control, motor control, it's a great tool to put in 6, 7, 8 exercises. Maybe you're even doing them barefoot, so you have to do a special walkthrough while you're doing it barefoot to increase your proprioception. So use the speed ladder to increase your neural drive when you're setting up to get into a weightlifting training session, or if you're going into a max strength training session and you need your body to really be firing on all cylinders. Another great method, okay? And this is a method that I stole directly from our own Nicholas Singleton, the 2021 National Gatorade Player of the Year for football. He's a commit to Penn State. He is the best running back in the country, a 5-star running back. And one thing that Nicholas used to do during the height of COVID, when you couldn't train in person here, and Nick had started training with us at the end of 5th grade, going into 6th grade. This was in his sophomore, going into junior year. We would be doing heavy cleans, okay? And the first couple times I started to hear him doing something in the background. And I'm just reverting back to this technique here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so I'd hear Nicholas doing this off camera. And after a couple sets, you know, we were cleaning up, and he cleaned up to 150 kilos, hits a set of 5 front squats at the end of that clean, okay, drops the weight. You know, he's like, dang, that's hard, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really say much. And then all of a sudden I heard that boom, 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 boom. I'm like, Nick, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just set up the speed ladder because when I'm resting, I'm just trying to work on that footwork, on that foot speed. And I think that sort of really triggered me to be like, wow, Nick's doing some impulse control, okay? He's doing some twitch force work. So now he's in this heightened state from that big clean, from the big front squats, and then his body is super aware, and then he's doing those little footwork drills. So it's a means of contrast training. And it's something that I had never even really thought about and that we can use now in strength and conditioning. You can rest 2 to 3 minutes after a big front squat or a big back squat or a big single leg squat, and then do some agility work based off of what you need to work on the speed ladder. Okay, so what else can we use the speed ladder for? And this is where, if I have an athlete that is a little, I don't know if this is politically correct, but saying dopic or a little bit uncoordinated, a little bit like the old saying was like you have 2 left feet if you can't dance. Somewhat along that line, right, where they're sort of like robotic when they're doing things. It's really nice to warm up with this, but to try to improve their motor control, try to get them to enhance their movement vocabulary. It's also very, very good for cutting. And that's one of the things, again, that I learned from Nicholas and watching what he would be doing is if we're going here, crossover, plant, here, okay? I'm here, crossover, plant here. Now, all that energy, I'm learning how to be more precise with my footwork when I'm stepping, and then I have to plant, and I can have an isometric control and drive back through that speed ladder laterally. I can also just work on that side-to-side shuffle, and now if we can think about a running back who's hitting the hole and he's coming through and he needs to see and feel what he's doing, now he has that good co-contraction, that skill is mastered, and he doesn't have to think about where he's going. His body's just moving him where it needs to be, okay? It's the same thing with wrestlers. Wrestlers can benefit tremendously from doing speed ladder work beforehand, or even while they're doing some drill work. If they're drilling on a dummy in the wrestling room, they're taking shots, maybe they rest for 30 seconds, they go hit that speed ladder work, and then they come over and they get into a round where they're just taking shots on the dummy. So you can use this for multiple different means of agility and force development, and on top of that, just improving overall motor control. But just be aware of the charlatans. It's not something that's going to increase your speed, okay? It can increase your agility for sure, but it's not necessarily going to increase your speed in the 40 because it's not going to be focused on the start, it's not going to be focused on the drive phase, and it's certainly not focused on that top end speed, because we got to think about when we're in that top end speed, we want a longer stride length. And sometimes if you don't educate your athletes on their actual proper sprint mechanics, this could impede and shorten their stride when they're up at that top end speed. Okay, so just be aware of that, but you can still use this for multiple different things, and that's why I recommend picking up a cheap speed ladder right off of Amazon, 15 bucks. Maybe we'll put an affiliate link down in the description down below. And if you need help with your speed and you want to get faster, click on that link, head over to garagestrength.com, and you can pick up our How to Get Faster speed training program. Remember, always cultivate your power. Peace.